Sitting today with Tracy Gray, the incumbent Member of Parliament for, the old Kelowna-Lake country riding, the newly redrawn and newly named Kelowna riding. Tracy, welcome back to the election campaign for your third time.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Any differences that you're noticing between 2019 when you first ran, 2020 when you ran for re-election, and now, or 2021 rather, and now? Any differences you're noticing in the campaign and the style of the campaign?
Well, first I'll say that, of course, the riding boundaries have changed, and we were just talking about that before we came on here. So previously I was representing Kelowna-Lake country, and now the riding is called Kelowna. And previously, I actually served the biggest population out of all ridings in British Columbia, which was a real honor. And now they've redrawn the boundaries. So I no longer will be representing, the riding of Kelowna doesn't have Lake Country in it. And then we've moved some things around in the Mission area. And then it goes all the way to Beaverdale and surrounding area there. So representing... connecting with some of the same people, but also some new people as well.
So losing Lake Country, but adding, say, Beaverdale and some of those rural areas, adding the Lower Mission and Kelowna, are you hearing different things from some of those people that maybe you hadn't heard before, or are the issues basically the same?
Well, I would say the biggest issues that I hear right now, right across the board, fall within a few different categories, and that relates to affordability, crime, mental health and addiction, and then now uncertainty with the unjustified trade tariffs, trade dispute with the United States. And so I do extensive research and outreach into the community. So I door knock year round. It's not just something that I do during an election. You know, I might have a meeting somewhere in town and have an extra half an hour and then go door knock the street. I might, attend so many different types of events. I'll fly home at midnight on a Friday and fly back to Ottawa on a Sunday, and Saturday I'll be out in the community attending all different types of activities. And it's such a great way for me to connect with so many different people in the community, and people will always come up to me and give me feedback, and ask me questions. And that's such a great way for me to really get a pulse of the community. And then, of course, I do lots of outreach. I write op-eds, I send notices to people's houses, and part of that is surveys as well. So, to residential homes, people will get some, a mailer with a survey, and thousands of people fill that out. It's such great feedback for me. They'll mail it in or email it, and it really allows me to understand what's going on in people's lives. And so when I go back to Ottawa, I can be their voice. When I'm in the House of Commons, whether I'm giving a speech or a debate or in question period or the work that I do at committee, it's a matter of bringing those voices and those issues to Ottawa. Also, as part of that, I have really gone to great lengths to bring the voices into the committee work that I've done, which really hasn't been done before, because I think it's really important for me to represent the community in a variety of different ways. And so that their voices can be there. I've had people within the community testify on everything from disability and tourism, and even the food bank, the Central Okanagan Food Bank testified on what was going on at the food bank. So I think that's part of the job of a member of parliament, is to do extensive outreach and then to bring those issues and voices to Ottawa. You
mentioned the tariffs. I want to get to that right away. The Prime Minister has said that the relationship between Canada and the U.S. is probably, or the current relationship is probably broken to the point that we're going to have to, forge new paths, new countries to find products, and that old relationship is now gone. Do you agree with that?
Well, we are in a situation right now where these unjustified tariffs from the United States and from President Trump are creating a lot of uncertainty for Canadian businesses and for Canadians. Conservatives have pushed back very strongly against the comments coming from President Trump and from the United States. And part of this is, as we're going into this trade dispute, the Canadian economy is in a weakened position.
Right.
What has happened over the last 10 years, the last decade of the Liberal government, is we have lost $500 billion of investment to the United States. We've lost hundreds of thousands of good-paying jobs. We have tax increases in Canada. We have interprovincial trade barriers. We have policies that have been anti-resource development policies. And so all of this has led to Canada not coming into this economically from a strengthened position. And so, this is why Conservatives are putting forth, every day we have announcements in order to make Canada economically strong. We should be one of the strongest countries in the world. We have all kinds of policies that relate to tax reductions, that relate to developing our resource sector. Just one example of that is Bill C-69, which was the anti-resource development law, and the current Prime Minister still supports that law. We have a situation here where there's so much that we could be doing to remove even interprovincial trade barriers that hasn't been done. An economist did an analysis that if we remove just interprovincial trade barriers themselves, that would bring $200 billion of economic benefit to Canada. So we need to be more self-sustaining as a country, and we also need to be making sure that we're creating policies that create good jobs, that we're developing our resource sector responsibly, and that we are bringing our resources to other countries in the world.
Do we need to push back harder on what's coming to us from the U.S.?
Well, I think Conservatives have pushed back very strong on that, and our leader, Pierre Poilievre, has come out very strongly against what is coming from the United States. And I hear it as well, even in our local community. I was speaking with the small business owners who are very concerned. There's a lot of uncertainty. Mm-hmm. They're not exactly sure how this will affect their businesses. Many of them get supplies from the United States, and so they're not sure how this will affect the pricing of those supplies, if they'll actually be affected, and then, of course, if that will be passed on to consumers.
We did see a reduction in gas prices this week at the pumps, or 17 or 18 cents, depending which station you went to. For consumers, that's great news. And as you are on the campaign trail, and this happens, of course, the current government gets all the credit for that. Your thoughts on that and what's happening with the carbon tax that like I say, we're seeing at the pumps.
So as you're likely aware, Conservatives were the only ones that were pushing back very strong against the carbon tax for years. I spoke about it many, many times in Ottawa in the House of Commons, and it was the Liberals, the Liberal government, that kept pushing back on us, and so we were the ones championing that. And now, of course, we're in an election. The Liberals have decided to move forward with reducing that one part of the carbon tax, but the other part that they have said that they would keep on is on businesses, is on industries. And in fact, Mark Carney has said that he would have a shadow tax. Well, a shadow tax is hidden, and it has been reported that will just make the cost continue to increase for industries in Canada, and of course those ultimately get passed down to consumers. So there's that part, and then also the carbon tax as well. The law still exists. Mm-hmm. The law has not been repealed. They've removed, they've lessened the amount, but the law is still on the books. And so after the election, we'll have to see if the government decides to actually repeal the law. But right now, it's still on the books, and technically, they could increase it again.
Polling numbers. If we were sitting here 6 months ago, I think we would be talking about a landslide Conservative government. The polls have flipped. That has to be a bit of a concern that now you appear to be fighting from behind, as opposed to a position of fighting from in front.
Well, the only poll that matters is on Election Day.
Of course.
And so I'm out of the doors every day. We have a lot of volunteers. We're engaging with people all across the community. And what I'm hearing very consistently is that people's lives have really been affected by the last 10 years of the current Liberal government. It's affected their cost of living, it's affected crime in their neighborhoods, and it's affected mental health and addiction that we see playing out on our streets. And so these are policies from the Liberal government that are affecting citizens in our in our community. We've seen how the Liberal government has supported drug decriminalization. And we saw how that played out. I was one of the first people in the House of Commons to start talking about open drug use in parks and playgrounds, and was shut down actually by Liberals and actually NDP in the House of Commons for even speaking about it. And we saw how that played out. That eventually it was repealed, but we're still seeing the effects of that. We saw when Mark Carney was here in Kelowna recently, how he referred to the fentanyl crisis in the United States as a crisis, but only, having challenges in Canada. And I would refute that and say that say that to the mothers that have had to bury their adult children, say that to the first responders that have to deal with the opioid crisis every day on our streets. So it really just shows how out of touch the policies are and how out of touch the Liberals are with what's going on in our community.
Tracy, April 28th is fast approaching. I want to give you a chance to look in the camera, talk to the constituents of your new Kelowna riding, and tell them why on April 28th they should put a check mark beside your name.
Thank you very much. It has been an absolute honor to serve the residents in our area since 2019. And I'm working very hard to continue to reach out to each and every one of you to hear what's important to you so that I can be your strong voice in Ottawa, advocate for what's important to you. And I really hope that I get to connect with you. And please reach out if you need to. I'd love to hear your comments. And I look forward to having your support on Election Day.
Tracy Gray, Member of Parliament for the Kelowna riding, running for re-election. Good luck on April 28th.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.